Coming up on Channel 8 News, we report live from the Flint Hills Discovery Center.
And a look at Aggieville's 125th anniversary.
But first, let's take a look outside at the weather with our weather person, Zaldi Dunion. Zaldi?
Thanks, guys. Currently outside, it is still mostly cloudy after the low pressure system moved through Manhattan last night. Now, will we see more rain or will we see sunshine in the future? I'll have the answer in my 5-day forecast coming up.
KKSU LP. For Manhattan and Riley County. From Kansas State University. This is Channel 8 News.
Welcome to Channel 8 News. I'm Morgan Hulsman.
And I'm Victor Roy. Coming up on today's show, Radinas opens a new location, a visit from the Sunset Zoo, as well as this week's weather forecast.
But first, our top story, the Middle East. The world has been watching as the violence has escalated in the Middle East around the ISIS terrorist group. The United States, along with other nations in the region, have launched airstrikes into Syria to attack ISIS strongholds. But this war is a war on many fronts. The new front is social media. Social media is the way our world connects and talks to each other.
Most people use social media to keep current to what's going on in their world, as well as stay in contact with friends and family.
But ISIS is using social media in a different role. Channel 8 reporter Gardner Jordan has the story. Gardner?
Yep. The terrorist group ISIS that's causing so much trouble in the Middle East is using social media as a tool to gain strength in their followers. ISIS, not your K-State online student management site, but the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, a terrorist organization. The stated goal by ISIS is to create a broader Islamic caliphate. The Islamic State of Iraq and Syria has been all over social media sites trying to recruit and promote their war, and even went as far as creating a trailer for the war.
Well, they post videos and about how good they're treating people in the areas they're controlling.
For me, as a communication scholar, what I have taken notice of is how well they are using social media, because that is in the big changes that are taking place in the communication landscape or architecture. Social media is the new frontier. It keeps changing, it keeps evolving, and I think ISIS has found a way of reaching young people using social media as opposed to traditional media.
I've seen the first 20 minutes of the video actually, because they put released 20 minutes, 3 parts. I think I've seen the first part. The first part is about Syria. This is how they have control of it, in some part. And they have a whole government over there, they have ministries, they have justice courts and everything. It's they have a full function government going on there.
I think it's terrifying. I think it's effective because of social media. I think it's effective because of the fact that they can get it out through technology and everyone can see it and be afraid.
I mean, I'm guilty of this as well, but I feel like it's a bigger deal than a lot of people understand it to be. I feel like people need to definitely educate themselves on what's going on.
I think that people are so interested in the situation that people are going to keep asking for information, so the social media is going to keep spreading that as much as it can. But yeah, I think it's a double-edged sword there where we're getting the information out, but that's also exactly what they probably want.
Social media sites are beginning to ban ISIS accounts and posts, but this has not halted ISIS from using this new type of warfare. Now guys, this should be an eye-opener for everyone that is on social media to let them know that these groups are out there trying to recruit and use social media to find people for their war and to scare other people.
And did you realize how intense ISIS was on recruiting through social media? I mean, CNN did say that there's over 2,000 Europeans that were recruited and 500 U.S. citizens.
Being the reporter on this story, I definitely learned a lot, and I definitely learned that people should look out for these groups and be careful on social media and just keep their eyes open and learn more about what's going on.
Thank you, Gardner. We all take the internet for granted, but maybe we should be more aware of the websites that we visit on the internet more seriously. Kansas State was awarded a $50 million grant from the U.S. Agency for International Development on Tuesday. The grant will allow the university to establish a a Feed Future Innovation Lab for Sustainable Intensification. Feed the Future is the U.S. government's global hunger and food security initiative. According to John Floros, Dean of College of Agricultural, USAID is making a nearly $100 million investment in Kansas State's ability to provide leadership to the global food systems research, teaching and extension efforts through the Feed, the Future and Innovation Labs.
The Kansas Court of Appeals paid a visit to the K-State Student Union's Forum Hall recently. As a panel of state appeals judges heard testimony on cases ranging from simple divorce arrangements to DUIs and a child sexual abuse case. Chief Judge Tom Malone says the traveling court makes appearances across the state to give citizens an inside look at the appeals process. The court, which typically travels to courthouses, makes its visit to K-State for Constitutional Law Day.
The purpose of the Kansas Court of Appeals actually is to bring the appellate process to the people of Kansas. Our court was created actually in 1977. Before that time, if you had an appeal, all the attorneys or the parties would have to drive to Topeka and argue their case before the Kansas Supreme Court.
The traveling court allows attorneys to voice arguments on their appeals on their client's behalf without traveling long distances and helps streamline the appeals process. We're going to take a quick break, but coming up next,
we have a live reporter from Flint Hills Discovery Center and a 125th birthday party.
It was a routine grain elevator inspection until the explosions began. Until a blast tossed him more than 300 feet. Then it became the event that changed Kevin Saunders forever. The body of this K-State alum was broken, but his spirit, well, that spirit not only survived, it thrived. Against all odds, Saunders transformed himself into the world's greatest wheelchair athlete, one of America's premier motivational speakers, and the first Paralympian appointed to the President's Council on Physical Fitness, Sport, and Nutrition. Where there's a wildcat, there's a way. Wired magazine calls him the explainer. His students call him amazing. Over 20 million YouTube views show that Associate Anthropology Professor Michael Wesch is transforming higher education. Translated to more than 20 languages and counting, Professor Wesch's teachings still share one common voice: passion. And whether you're learning live or online, that passion is contagious. And that passion is one of the leading reasons Kansas State University is first among U.S. public research universities in producing U.S. Case Carnegie Professors of the Year. Where there's a wildcat, there's a way.
Welcome back. I'm Morgan Hulsman.
And I'm Victor Woy. We go live to our Channel 8 News reporter, Nick Wall, who is currently at the Flint Hills Discovery Center. Nick, what's going on there today?
That's right, guys. Exciting times going on here at the Flint Hills Discovery Center, where not one, but two new exhibits will be opening up this weekend. We'll be back later in the show for an interview with Director Fred Goss. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Nick. Victor, are you going to go and visit the Flint Hills Discovery Center?
Oh, definitely. I'll find some time in my schedule.
For sure. Now, Aggieville celebrated its 125th anniversary recently.
There wasn't any birthday cake, but Channel 8 News reporter Lance Leonard is here to assure us that it was a great party.
That's right, you guys. I headed down to check out what this Aggieville business was all about. How does a place like Aggieville celebrate its 125th birthday? Classic cars? What about Astromech doing? That was going through. Aggieville has something to entertain.
I think it's great. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of stuff to do out here. The classic cars are pretty cool, even though they have some like newer cars in there, you know, whatever. But it's a great time. I think it's probably the best way to celebrate for Aggieville turning 125. And I'm glad we could be here.
The streets were filled with people who came out to enjoy the sights and sounds. There was a car show for the auto enthusiasts.
Oh, we just wanted to, do the 125th anniversary for Aggieville, see the cars. I have a Mustang too, so.
There was a mini makers fair for craft enthusiasts. They came from all over the galaxy, including the R2 builders.
Yeah, I saw that there was a makers fair, and it's like, well, I'm making R2, so let's do this. Yeah. The R2 Builders Club is a worldwide club, and we build all sorts of types of astromechs. From R2D2, we got R2Q7 over here. There's a lot of different types, different dome types.
And for once, the fun was taken outside the bars, with a carnival for the kids, a rope course, and a soapbox derby. It was a happy birthday for all.
So I've been to a lot of birthdays in Aggieville in my day, but none of them were quite like this.
Well, it looks like you saw a lot of cool things down there.
What was the coolest thing that you saw?
There's a lot down there. There was a 3D printer. There was a Geiger counter that you got to play with radiation. But the R2D2s took the cake for me. They're actually going to have some of them in the episode 7 coming up, so that's pretty cool.
And there was some belly dancing going on down there. What was that all about?
Entertainment.
Definitely.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, but coming up, we have a visit from our fun friends at the Sunset Zoo.
And Zaldi Duyugan will tell us when the clouds will clear up and the sun will come back out.
Look at me. I'm so cute and cuddly. I'm also very charming. I'll tell you what you want to hear and sweep you off your feet. I'm also spontaneous, maybe a little erratic at times. I take risks most people wouldn't, but that makes me fun. I'm also very persuasive. I can convince you to do something you'd never dream of doing. And you'll love my stories. I usually stretch the truth a little bit, but you'll believe me because I'm such a good liar. I'm never wrong, and I never feel guilty. I always win, but just look how cute and innocent I look. I can fool you, your parents. I can even fool your friends. Trust me.
Hello, we're back. I'm Morgan Hulsman.
And I'm Victor Roy. We are now joined with Ella Casey from the Sunset Zoo. Ella, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
And who's this little guy you got here?
This is Darwin. He's actually about 13 years old. He's a bearded dragon that we have here at Sunset Zoo.
Now, bearded dragons, as I've seen in movies, they were poisonous portrayed in the movies, so are they really poisonous?
No, we don't have any concerns with Darwin being anywhere near poisonous. And the barbs are actually pretty soft if you want to feel them. So he does have a defense mechanism where he actually will kind of poof out a beard, and you can kind of see the skin right there if he feels threatened or he just wants to kind of show who's who. So that's what Darwin will do, but no worries about being bitten by a poisonous animal.
And how many of these guys do you guys have at the zoo?
We just have the one. He's part of our education animal collection, so we go out and do programs with him. So we have a variety of different lizards, but he is the only bearded dragon that we have.
And have you guys had him for all 13 years?
You know, that is a great question. He's been there as long as I've been there, and I've been there for about 4 or 5 years, and I think he's been there quite a bit more time before that. So he's lived most of his life in Manhattan, Kansas.
Okay, and these guys aren't like strays. We won't see these out anywhere. Are they just in
You
zoos?
actually, well, hopefully you're not going to see them outside in Kansas, but you will probably see them in pet stores. They are pretty popular in the United States in pet stores, so you'll see a lot of people who have them at home.
Okay, really awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today and bringing your friends with us. And now we're joined by our weather forecaster, Zaldi Duyugan. Hey, Zaldi. It's been sprinkling on and off these past couple of days. Are we going to see that sun come out soon?
I mean, the sun has been missing, but it will come back and we'll actually see it sooner than we think. So let's first take a look outside real quick, and you can actually see the sun that is coming out right now. Those pass through those clouds, and Those clouds will eventually clear later on today, and so will it later on this week. But before we take a look at the forecast, let's first take a look at the current temperatures that's going on around the United States right now. And so, as you can tell right now, here, let's look at the West Coast, where actually it is 70 degrees in the North Pacific Northwest, and it's a sweltering 97 degrees in the Las Vegas area. And over in the East Coast, you'll actually see that it's going to be mid to low 70s today. As far as temperature-wise, in the Florida Gulf Coast, we'll experience 85 degrees as their high today. So how will the weather be like in the United States? Well, let's take a look at that real quick. At the weather, there we go, there it is. And so, as I said earlier, the low pressure system is pushing through the Midwest, which means that Iowa and Missouri, you will get some rain sometime today. But that's also bringing in a high pressure system that's also going to bring in a lot of sunshine for these areas such as Kansas, Colorado, Wyoming, and Nebraska. However, for you in the Pacific Northwest and in the Florida coast, you will be experiencing more thunderstorms. I'm sorry about that. But here in Kansas, we actually have some great weather coming up. As you can tell here in western Kansas, there will be mostly sunny all throughout the day. However, in eastern Kansas, in Kansas City as well as the Wichita area, you will be experiencing some showers and thunderstorms in the morning, but again, those will clear out later on today. And here in Riley County, Manhattan, Kansas, it's right now mostly cloudy, but like I said, that will clear out earlier or later on today, and that will bring me to my 5-day forecast, which is actually a really good looking forecast. Right now, currently today, it will be 73 degrees as a high, mostly cloudy, but like I said, it will clear out earlier or later, and it will be a low of 59 degrees. And as far as the next 4 days, well, it's beautiful. It'll be mid to high 80s with sunny pretty much every day, and the lows will be high 50s, low 60s. And so hopefully that game day will be great as the Cats face UTEP. So, and looks like we'll be enjoying some sunshine for the next few days, Morgan and Victor.
Thanks, Ollie. Well, although it might not be getting much colder, a nice cup of coffee and a muffin will sure to brighten anybody's day.
That's right. And a local company is helping to make that happen. Channel 8 News reporter Paul Cannon got the tour of the great aromas that will be coming from.
This is more than just a place for homework and a cup of coffee. It's a room of heavenly aromas.
We've always wanted to really push the bakery side of our business.
But what he wanted to do was be a part of the community.
But that space was too small to do what I wanted. But what really keeps me in the bakery and the coffee business is the role they play. A good bakery and a good coffee house plays a very vital role to the community.
And it's that community aspect that Wade Redina says you won't find in a nationally owned business.
That's really what draws me to the business, is to have a place where the community actually happens.
This is their fourth Redinas. What's special about this Redinas is that this is where they take local foods and bake them, then send the finished goodies to other Redinas locations.
The city really didn't have a plan for this area, and the developer, the restaurant, or the hotel owners and the developers came and said, well, let's make this kind of the anchor for this edge of the downtown, and the city had already put in the convention center.
Now, Paul, how much of an impact is Redina's going to have on the development of downtown?
Well, Morgan, it's going to have a big impact. In fact, Redina's is built right next to the Blue Planet, which is a subleased loft complex where young adults can rent for just to live in. And really, the biggest thing that attracts young adults is coffee houses, and this bakehouse is a big part of that.
What's Redina's bestseller?
The Turkey Dijon. It is one of their best exquisite dishes.
Thanks, Paul. Coming up next, a look at sports.
For behind-the-scenes access and up-to-the-minute news, get connected with K-State Athletics on social media. Search K-State Sports to join the conversation today.
Powerful ideas are sparked by a natural curiosity.
it could begin with a single seed or a brilliant ray of light. At Kansas State University, it begins with research that advances the world, where science and creativity meet. At Kansas State University, powerful ideas begin with you.
K-State Student Radio brings every game to K-State fans on the Wildcat 91.9.
Line's going to take a pitch out to the right. Hubert dices his way up and into the end zone for the Wildcat touchdown. Takes the snap. He's going to roll out. He's going to throw deep over the middle of the field for Tyler Lockett. Catches it. 15-10, 5, touchdown, Kansas State.
For all of your K-State sports coverage, tune into the Wildcat 91.9.
Welcome back. I'm Morgan Hulsman.
And I'm Victor Roy. Huge football game against Auburn, but Channel 8 News reporter Lacey Seakin tells us some of the arrivals for the game.
That's right. There was a lot of excitement around K-State for the Auburn Tiger game. Tailgating around football stadium was in high spirits, but not all of it was in purple. Pass is good. Another tailgating success. The Cats definitely know how to support their team before kickoff, but they're not the only ones.
Eagle! Hey! Going to the game.
Auburn fans made the long trip to cheer on their Tigers.
We're from Cottonwood, Alabama.
We're from Pell City, Alabama.
We live near Auburn, Alabama.
They got into their big rigs and claimed their spots on the hill near the Bill.
We've been here since about 11:30 Tuesday morning.
Been here since Monday night.
A mix of AU and K-State flags blowing in the wind, with fans set up to watch the big game in camper comfort.
It's going to be a good one. We've heard so much about Coach Schneider and what a great guy he is. These are going to be worthy opponents. It's not going to be favorable for the Kansas people. We expect a big challenge.
The Auburn's going to win.
They didn't make it up for nothing.
War Eagle.
And now our reporter, Joel Garver, is here to fill us in on the volleyball and football action from over the weekend. Joel?
That's right, Victor. The anticipation around town was unlike any other game since we hosted the 4th-ranked USC Trojans in 2002. However, that wasn't the only athletics in town, as volleyball hosted South Dakota State before heading north to Ann Arbor, Michigan. We'll start out at Ahern Fieldhouse, where the Wildcats took on the Jackrabbits of South Dakota State. Behind 10 kills from Brooke Sassett and Kylie Zumach, as well as a double-double by setter Katie Brand, the Wildcats swept the Jackrabbits in 3 sets. The Cats then headed north to Ann Arbor, Michigan, where they went 3-0 again in the Michigan Invitational and extended their win streak to 11 games. Now we'll head over to the Bill, where the Wildcats hosted the 5th-ranked Auburn Tigers. The game started out fast as Auburn moved the ball to midfield, but the Wildcats' defense remained stout and held them to a punt. This proved to be the main story of the first half, as the Cats only allowed 10 points to a team who averaged 55 points a game coming in. Despite falling to a fourth-quarter deficit of 20-7, the Cats fought back to bring the game within 6 points with 3 minutes and 49 seconds left, and then the Bill started to rock. However, mental mistakes on offense, including a fumble and uncharacteristic drop by Tyler Lockett that led to an interception, as well as 3 missed field goals by junior Jack Cantelli, led to a final 20-14 Auburn win. Next up for the Cats is a home game where they'll host the University of Texas El Paso.
Well, thanks, Joel. Too bad we couldn't grab those Tigers by the tail.
Footballs aren't the only thing flying around Manhattan these days. Earlier this month, the strip between Denison and Laramie was home to the Watermelons and sorority girls. The competition is based on the amount of donations the women raise within their chapter and how well they place during
telling us about Watermelon Bus. So this is going to be legit. Like,
We've seen pictures from last year, and we all were pumped about it. We're going to dominate. We're going to dominate. Oh, yeah.
They get all the sororities involved. We raise cans the night before, and then they have us all come out and, like, we compete in the events together. It's really fun for the entire Greek system.
The competition is based on the amount of donations the women raise within their chapter and how well they place during the competition. This year, the event held watermelon decorating competition, a twister board competition, and a watermelon eating contest, and a relay event. The winners of this year's competition were the ladies of Kappa Kappa Gamma.
Zaldi will give us one last look at the weather, and Nick will show us some more at the Flint Hills Discovery Center.
Right after the break.
There's the lob, and Foster with the throwdown.
For behind-the-scenes access and up-to-the-minute news, get connected with K-State Athletics on social media. Search K-State Sports to join the conversation today.
Powerful ideas are sparked by a natural curiosity. It could begin with a single seed or a brilliant ray of light. At Kansas State University, it begins with research that advances the world, where science and creativity meet. At Kansas State University, powerful ideas begin with you.
K-State Student Radio brings every game to K-State fans on the Wildcat 91.9.
Line's going to take it, pitch out to the right. Hubert dices his way up and into the end zone for the Wildcat touchdown. Takes the snap. He's going to roll out. He's going to throw deep over the middle of the field for Tyler Lockett. Catches it. 15-10, 5, touchdown, Kansas State.
For all of your K-State sports coverage, tune into the Wildcat 91.9.
Welcome back to Channel 8 News. I'm Morgan Hulsman.
And I'm Victor Roy. Let's take one look out there where Nick Wall is at the Flint Hills Discovery Center. Nick?
All right, now we're joined live at the Flint Hills Discovery Center with Director Fred Goss. Fred, a lot of exciting stuff happening here at the center. The Flint Hills Forces exhibit opens this week along with another. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, Flint Hills Forces is a collaborative effort between Fort Riley and Kansas State University, Flint Hills Discovery Center, and the Riley County Historical Society to showcase and look at what has changed and not changed in Manhattan in this region with our partners from 1917 to 1963. So a lot of people have a memory of that, but if not, it's a great way to introduce yourself to what has happened and also what has shaped the community in the region as we know it today.
And then it's not just the Flint Hills Forces exhibit that's going on. You have something for the kids as well.
We do something for those who are young and young at heart. Looks at animal secrets, looks at animals, habitat, how they thrive and survive and live here nationally, but also in the Flint Hills. And that actually will change about halfway through this 12 to 14-week run. So it's two exhibits and within one. I think people will enjoy it as they take in.
Well, many thanks for joining us, Director Goss. Guys, back to you in the studio.
Well, that's all we have time for on this show.
You can find Channel 8 News on Facebook at Channel 8 News, KSU, and at Channel 8 on Twitter. For all the Channel 8 News team, thank you for watching.
Join us for next week of another edition of Channel 8 News.